Hi girls, next we are going to see about relative refractive index. That means we are going to compare the two refractive indexes N1 and N2. Suppose if you take N21 is nothing but refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. So we are going to compare both the refractive indexes. So N21 is equal to N2 by N1. And so here inverse rule and chain rule, so they follow these rules. And in the inverse rule, N12 is given by the reciprocal of N21. So that can be written as N1 by N2, which is the reciprocal of N2 by N1. This is called inverse rule. And according to chain rule, N32. So this is refractive index of the third medium with respect to the second medium. In that also, we have to consider the first medium, and in relative to the first medium, you are going to find out the other values. So this can be written as N31 into N12, or N3 by N2 is equal to N3 by N1 into N1 by N2. So they follow the chain rule. And next we are going to see about apparent depth. And here when you see, this is the fish tank, and when you see from the outside, the bottom is raised to certain height, and this raising up to certain height is called apparent depth. And so here it is a common observation that the bottom of the tank filled with water appears raised as shown in figure. So in this diagram, the platform PQ is appearing to be raised to the platform P dash Q dash. So that distance is called as apparent depth, whereas the actual depth, real depth is XP, and apparent depth is YQ dash. And so this is because the bottom is found to be raised. And here suppose O is the object. The light from the object after passing from N1 to N2 at B, it is refracted. Here also at A it is refracted, and OID is the normal. And so here N1 is the water medium and N2 is the air medium. And in this case you are taking only the right hand side of the diagram. So here OD, that represents the normal. Here O is the object and I is the image. And here when you see N dash is also the normal, and both the normals OD and N dash are parallel to each other. And here the I is angle of incidence, that is angle DOB is I. And so the alternate angles are equal. So another alternate angle is there. And angle of refraction is here NBC is angle of refraction. In the alternate angles, here they are equal angles, that is DIB is also R. So here we have to mark these two angle of incidences and two angle of refraction. And D dash is the apparent depth and D is the actual depth. And so here we are going to see the equations now. And here at B, it deviates away from the normal in the rarer medium at the point of incidence B. And here N1 is greater than N2. N1 is water medium and N2 is the air medium. And so here according to Snell's law in product form, N1 sin I is equal to N2 sin R, and we can take the sin I is equivalent to tan I, since angles are very small. So sin can be replaced by tan. So N1 tan I is equal to N2 tan I. And this diagram you have to find out what is tan I. Tan I is opposite by adjacent. So dB by OD, and also you have to find out tan R, which is equal to dB by ID. And so the equations are here, tan I and tan R, and substituting that in this product form, and dB get cancelled, and instead of dO you can substitute D, and instead of DI you can substitute D dash, or you can rewrite this equation as D dash by D is equal to N2 by N1. So what about D dash? D dash is equal to N2 by N1 into D. And here N2 is a rarer medium, so that is 1, and N1 so taken to be as N. So in such a case the equation becomes D dash is equal to D by N. So what is the elevated distance? That is found by the difference between the actual depth and the real depth. Actual depth and the apparent depth. So D minus D dash is given by D minus Dn, and here you can take d minus d dash is equal to d is taken outside, so 1 minus 1 by n. So that is the elevated distance d minus d dash is equal to d into 1 minus 1 by n. Here d is the actual depth and d dash is the apparent depth, and n is the refractive index of water. Next we are going to see about critical angle and total internal reflection. This total internal reflection is the third phenomena. So for reflection and refraction you have heard, and the third one is total internal reflection. So here when you see this diagram, there are three diagrams given. In the first case, the ray is N1 is the water medium and N2 is air medium. The wave move from that is the ray move from water to air, and here it is refracted, and you know the center line is normal, and I is angle of incidence and R is angle of diffraction. And for smaller angles of this incident ray, usually R is greater than I. And when you see the second diagram, the angle of incidence here is increased, and you know this is angle of incidence, this is increased here, and for one particular angle of incidence the refraction becomes 90 degree, and so the ray will just grazes the surface, that is it just touches the surface. It is shown by the red arrow. And here when the angle is still increased, there is no refraction at all, only reflection will take place. So the light will move, that is will reflect inside the denser medium itself. So here I is greater than IC, and this particular angle for which the ray is internally total internal reflected is called critical angle, and we are going to see now. So the angle of incidence in the denser medium for which the refracted ray grazes the boundary is called critical angle IC. So here this second diagram gives the critical angle. And so here what is total internal reflection? So here if the angle of incidence is gradually increased and beyond certain value, there is no refraction possible. So the entire light is reflected back into the denser medium itself. This phenomenon is called total internal reflection. So in the third diagram, you are not having refraction, but you are having only total internal reflection. So this is a different phenomena. And here there are two conditions for total internal reflection. The first one is light should travel from denser to rarer medium. And for in the example, we have taken water. From water, the light is traveling to air. And the angle of incidence in the denser medium must be greater than critical angle, that is I must be greater than IC. Here I is angle of incidence and IC is the critical angle. And when you see Snell's law in the product form, you can write this equation as N1 sin IC is equal to N2 sin 90 degree, because at critical angle the angle of refraction is 90 degree. So you know sin 90 is equal to 1, so N1 sin IC is equal to N2, or sin IC is equal to N2 by N1. And if the rarer medium is air, you can take 1, that is the refractive index is 1. So in this case you can take N2 as 1 and N1 as N. So sin IC is now equal to 1 by N, or IC is equal to sin inverse 1 by N. And here suppose if the critical angle you have to find out, in that case if you know the refractive index you can find the critical angle. So suppose if we take glass air interface, there the refractive index is 1.5, you substitute the value, then you will get IC as 41.8 degree. Similarly for water air interface, you can calculate the critical angle. So the critical angle depends on the refractive index of the medium. And there is one tabular column given. Here when you see when the refractive index increases, then the critical angle decreases because they are inversely proportional. And next we are going to see about effects due to total internal reflection. And in that, first glittering of diamond. So the diamond has such a dazzling appearance because of total internal reflection of light. And here you have to remember the critical angle of diamond is about 24.4 degree. So here the larger range of angle of incidence can be used from 24.4 degree to 90 degree inside the diamond. So when you see the first that is left hand side diagram, there is only one ray that is total internal reflected, whereas so many cuts are made. So the total internal reflection is very heavy in the second diagram. so it will give more sparkling effect than the first one. So the cuts are made so the total internal reflection is more pronounced in the diamond. And next we are going to see about mirage and looming. So actually when the density increases, refractive index also increase. And so here when you see the hot places, the air near the ground is hot, and because of that that is when you see the air in the refractive index of air increases with height. So because of this, light from tall objects like a tree passes through a medium whose refractive index decreases towards the ground. So because of that, it undergoes total internal reflection, and this gives an illusion as if the light comes from somewhere below the ground. And because of different layers present in the air, the object will appear to be reflected by a pool of water or wet surface beneath the object, and this phenomenon is called mirage. In Tamil it is called as Kanal Neer. You can observe this during summer time. And so when you see this diagram, you can understand. And this diagram shows the total internal reflection in hot places, and the surface which is near to the earth is rarer, and the density slowly increases. And when you see the ray from the coconut tree, it is bending away from the normal. So an image is formed. When you see the image is formed, an illusion takes place, and the image is appeared to be coming from the bottom of the earth, and because of the shaky nature you will have that illusion. And when you see these cold places, here the opposite process, looming is the opposite process. Here near the surface of the earth the medium is denser, and when you go up the medium becomes rarer. So when you see a small hut, the rays coming from this hut will be deviating towards the normal. So when you see here, the hut will appear to be inverted, and there is some illusion. You can see at the top surface you are having an illusion as if you are having the hut in the inverted form. So this illusion is called looming. This is only the illusion, and mirage and looming are the opposite process. And so next we are going to see about prisms making use of total internal reflection. So you can reflect the light either by 90 degree or by 180 degree by using prisms. And when you see this diagram here, without changing the size, that is AB is the object and A dash B dash is the image, and here not the size, that is the size is not at all changing, whereas only that angle is varying. So the image is rotated through 90 degree, and in the second diagram the image is rotated through an angle of 180 degree. So here the size will remain the same, and here you will get that is a reverse form. When you see AB is the object, it will be in the reverse way, that is A dash B dash. So you can invert the object, and this is for the third case. This is the third case. So the prisms can be used for making total internal reflection. And next we are going to see about radius of illumination. This is otherwise called as Snell's window. And here when you see, this is a light source inside the water tank, and this light source will have three effects. That is, you have three cases. The first one, the incident angle can be less than the critical angle. In such a case, the ray will undergo refraction and emerge out from water. This is the first case. And when the third case, consider third case, light is greater than the critical angle. In such a case, it will undergo total internal reflection, and the light falling particularly at critical angle grazes the surface. This is the third case. So the three types of angle of incidence will give the three different phenomena. And when you see here, when light entering the water from outside, and in the previous case we have seen about the light from the inside of the water, whereas here we are going to see about light entering the water from outside. And in such a case, the view is restricted to a particular angle equal to the critical angle IC, and this restricted illuminated circular area is called Snell's window. And when you see here, this is any object inside the surface of water, and here for a fish inside the pond or lake, the wave is restricted, and when you see the center line is a normal, here the wave is restricted to the angle of 2 IC, that is when you see the critical angle is multiplied by 2, and this radius of illumination, that is the circular, you will get the circular area, and we are going to find out the radius of this circular area. And here the critical angle, suppose if we take the critical angle for water is 48.6 degree, then the angle of view is restricted to 97.2 degree, and the fish inside the water can view only up to this angle. And we are now going to see about what is this radius. Here the radius of Snell's window can be deduced with illustration, and here when you see the right hand side of the previous diagram, and here the, suppose you consider a fish at the point A, and here there are two normals here, and AD, D is a depth, and here IC is the angle between the incident ray and the normal. Since the alternate angles are equal, the other angle is also equal to IC, and here this is at critical angle. So the angle of refraction becomes 90 degree. Here N1 is a water surface, refractive index of water surface, and N2 is a refractive index of air. And here you are applying Snell's law in product form, and so N1 sin C is equal to N2 sin 90 degree. N1 is refractive index of water, and N2 is refractive index of air. IC, you know, the critical angle. Here the ray just grazes the surface, so here N1 sin C is equal to N2 sin 90 degree, and sin 91, so you will get N1 sin C is equal to N2, or sin IC is equal to N2 by N1. Suppose you consider the right angle triangle ABC here, and then sin IC, according to the diagram, sin IC is equal to CB by AB. Here AB is nothing but the hypotenuse. According to Pythagoras theorem, AB is given by square root of r square plus d square, and so the equation becomes sin IC is equal to r by square root of d square plus r square. Substituting that in the equation 633, you will get r by square root of d square plus r square is equal to N2 by N1. Next we are going to see what is the equation for r, and r is nothing but the radius of Snell's window. So for that you have to do so many steps to get r alone. So squaring both the sides, you will get r square by r square plus d square is equal to N2 by N1 the whole square. And next reciprocate this, r square plus d square by r square is equal to N1 by N2 the whole square. Next you separate out the terms, so you will get 1 plus d square by r square is equal to N1 by N2 the whole square. Then bring plus 1 to the other side, you get minus 1. And so here next you are taking the common denominator, so N1 square minus N2 square by N2 square. Again you are taking the reciprocal of this, so you will get next r square, and from that you can calculate r. So r is equal to d square root of N2 square by N1 square minus N2 square. So from that equation we are getting r. R is nothing but radius of the Snell's window. And so here you know N2 is air, so the refractive index for air is 1, and N1 can be taken as N. So the equation now becomes r is equal to d into 1 by square root of n square minus 1, or you can write this equation as r is equal to d by square root of n square minus 1. Here r is the radius of Snell's window, and d is the depth where the water animal is present, and n, you know, the refractive index. So substituting these values you can get the radius of Snell's window. That's all girls, hope you understand.